Chazal tell us that initially Adam, when he was created, he had a certain potential. And his potential was to advance himself spiritually. But after he ate of the tree of knowledge, the fruit which is good and evil, he was disenfranchised, and he no longer had that function in existence. Avram Avinu, because he was the one who, through his own initiative, came to recognize God and espoused Hashem's existence as the universal being, the omnipotent being, monotheism, ultimately his progeny were classified as Odom. And that's what the Gemara tells us, Atem kriyim Odom, hem lo kriyim Odom. You are classified as the Odom, the nations of the world are not classified as Odom. So we explained the name of the Maharal of Prague, that why was Odom called Odom? Because he was created from the earth. So the Maharal of Prague asks, but the animal was also created from the earth. But yet the animal is behema, chayo, domesticated, undomesticated. So why is the human being called Odom? So he goes to explain that Adama, earth, has phenomenal potential, and all life grows from the earth. However, the most fertile soil, if you don't cultivate it, it remains just a clump of earth. But if you actually cultivate and take benefit of its potential, all life grows from the earth. And that's what a human being is all about. Odom, that appellation, identifies what the essence of Odom is. He has unlimited potential. But if you don't address the potential, he remains no different than that clump of earth, regardless of its quality in terms of what it could produce. So he goes to explain that the difference between Klal Yisrael and the nations of the world, we have mitzvahs aseh. The Jewish people have positive commandments. The whole concept of positive commandments, do means if you do, it'll be in your interest. We're able to grow our spirituality. We're able to advance our spirituality. A non-Jew, he only has Noahide laws. Noahide laws, what we call Shev Mitzvah Bnei Noach, are all mitzvahs lo sasa, the negative commandments. When you say to a person, don't cross that line, don't transgress, the connotation is, if you don't want to be diminished, don't do that. A non-Jew, his responsibility in existence is to maintain what was given to him, not to be diminished, not to cross those lines. A Jew, not only do we have 365 negative commandments, which is the don't cross the line, we also have 240 of mitzvahs aseh. That's to advance our spirituality. That's Adama. So the Jew has the characteristics of Adama. All growth, all advancement, unlimited advancement comes through the mitzvahs aseh, which we perform. Now, before the chet of Adam Arishon, Adam, he was in the Garden of Eden. He was put there l'ovda u'l'shamra, to work it and to protect it. What was his responsibility? Only to serve God. His wife would attend to all the other needs, that he should not be distracted from his service of Hashem. That's what it was. That was Adam. When he was distracted and he was convinced by his wife to eat of the Eitz Hadas, then he was disenfranchised. We, as the progeny of Avram Avinu at Sinai, we were advanced to the level of Adam. Okay? So now the question is this. We had a machlokas, there's an argument in Brochos between Reb Shimi Yochai and Rabbi Shmuel. How should a Jew conduct his life? Rabbi Shmuel says that we live in a physical world, in a material world. When it comes to the planting season, a Jew must plow, must sow, I must do what he has to do. When it comes to the reaping season, harvesting, we must reap, we must thresh, and do all the processes to bring about the end result. Reb Shimon Yochai says, disagrees. He says, if that's the case, if a person would do all these various chores in each season, Torah Mateoleh, what's going to happen to the Torah? Therefore, the Jew studies Torah, Reb Shimon Yochai says. So, and what about our material needs? We say, in Kemach in Torah, as it says in Pirkei Avos, Malachto nasas al yidei acherim. The work will be done through non-Jews. They'll do our bidding. So we should be fully focused and occupied with our spirituality. That's Reb Shimon Yochai. So Rabbi Shmuel says to Reb Shimon Yochai, but I have a proof that I'm right, that the Jew has to live kedarka shel olam, the way of the world. It says in the second paragraph of Shema, it says, V'nosati mitaratzchem bito. It says, V'osavti degonecho. It says, you're going to bring in your grain. So you see that what? That when the Jew does the mitzvahs, he brings in his own grain. So you see, the Jew is supposed to take out time for the sake of the material. So Reb Shimon Yochai answers, the second paragraph of the Shema is speaking, Sheinim osem ritzonu shel makom. The Jews are not fully doing the will of God, therefore we have to do our own bidding. But if a Jew would be fully committed to do what Hashem wants, our chores would be done through others. Not going to get involved in exactly what it means, Ein osem ritzonu shel makom. What exactly is the argument from Shimon Yochai and Rabbi Shmuel? So the way I understood it was, when Klal Yisrael were elevated to the level of Odom, Atem Kriyim Odom, Heim Kriyim Odom, to what level of Odom did God put us in terms of our place in existence? Is it Odom before the Chet? And before the Chet, before the eating of the tree of knowledge, he was not involved in the material whatsoever? Was not involved. And that's the status we achieved. And if you're able to maintain that level, then your chores will be done through others. There's no distraction. If you're not distracted from Torah, God will provide the means through others. But if you don't behave like the Odom, if you're not fully invested in spirituality, then you have to do your own chores. You have to do your own bidding. Not only that, you'll have to do the bidding of others. That's Reb Shimon Yochai. Reb Shmuel says no. Well, we assumed the position of Odom, that was Odom after he already had ingested of the tree of knowledge. Once that happens, then we have to we're no longer that Odom in the Garden of Eden before the ate of the tree of knowledge. We have to deal with our own issues. We have to provide for ourselves. And that's the second paragraph of the Shema. So their argument is, when it says Atem Kriyim Odom, will we reinstate it to Odom before the Chet, exactly his predicament, or no? We're maybe Odom that we're able to advance ourselves, but we're still, as we're subject to death due to the Eitz Hadas, we're subject to what? To the inadequacies due to the Eitz Hadas, therefore we have to provide for ourselves. That's the argument from Shimon Yochai and Rabbi Shmuel. That's what they're arguing about. What exactly is the status of Odom? Okay? As a result of this, the Rav Chaim Volozhin points out, the Gemara says, Harbe also Reb Shimon ben Yochai v'lo also b'Odom. Many people attempted to follow Reb Shimon Yochai's prescription and they did not succeed. Did not succeed. So Rav Chaim Volozhin says it would seem to be that Rav Shmuel is right. That the approach is, when we are Odom, we're Odom after the Chet, and therefore we have to provide for ourselves. So the Rav Chaim Volozhin says no. If you really read the Gemara correctly, it says Harbe also. Many attempted to do like Reb Shimon Yochai, they did not succeed. But the inference is but a minority did succeed. So if the minority succeed, evidently, if you follow the prescription accurately and you meet all the criteria, Malachto nasas al yidei acherim, you are Odom kodem achet. Except the majority who didn't succeed, it's because they really didn't meet the grade, and because they didn't meet the grade, that's called Einem Osem Ritzonu Shel Makom, and that's the reason why they have to do their own bidding, for that reason.